right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Empty Cans Podcast. I am Mark.
And my name is Bryce.
And thanks for joining me, Bryce.
Pleasure to be here.
Bryce, who are you?
I am Bryce Tuttle, the owner of Brown Beard Brewing Company in Garden City, the brewer, the janitor, a little bit of everything. So, yeah, just a guy that likes beer, if you want to break it down.
Awesome. That's great. And that's why I had you join me for this month's podcast. You were such a pleasure, a delight to have on the episode where we talked about your brewery and all that. So I think it was awesome to bring you back again, co-host.
It's an honor to be a co-host of anything, especially this podcast.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you very much.
So when we were talking about what we wanted to do, you had mentioned Mill 95.
Yeah, I hops are a big thing what we do here.
Absolutely.
And part of what I want to start mainly focusing on is getting more ingredients, pretty much anything I can get locally. And I thought, what a nice way to one, see who you'd be buying from and check out their facility, but also to kind of get out there and nerd out a little bit, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. I really enjoyed it. It was a great time, and I loved having you out there with me, so I didn't look like such a noob. But no, it was quite the experience. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, unbelievable facility.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate you extending the offer.
Blew my mind. So I guess with that being said, today's episode is sponsored by Brown Beard Brewing.
It's my pleasure, and it's cool to kind of be recording an episode of the podcast in the brewery now.
Yeah, we are on site, something that I've never done before. When we went to Mill 95, that's something I'd never done before either. Wow. So here we are doing a bunch of stuff we've never done before.
That's right. Even this brewery is only 5 months old, something I've never done before. So it's kind of a lot of firsts for us all.
Exactly. And again, since it is sponsored by you, Bryce, tell everybody. Well, I'll tell everybody what I'm drinking. I am drinking the Beard Brewing Private Reserve.
That's right.
Which is similar to the Beard Brewing, but this one's, I guess I would say, much better.
It takes a lot more time. So basically, the main difference is this was aged on the same amount of coffee and oak for 28 days rather than 7. So it comes out a little bit smoother with just a hint of the booze feel from the oak and a little nice coffee nose still. Easy drinker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the big brother, if you will, of the Beard Brewing.
It is very good. I am enjoying this immensely. And what are you drinking? It looks like something dark there.
Yeah, the new Dunkelweizen I've had on a couple times. Just a fresh batch of my Dunkel. It's dark wheat, German Bavarian style beer.
Okay.
Crisp, tasty, under 5%. One of my favorites.
Easy drinker at
That's
5%.
Right. Yeah.
So how's business going? Let's talk about that first.
It's been fun. The summer has been great. We've kind of picked up more live music lately. Trying to move in a direction to where we can expand on inside of this little space. It's a small space, but I've got a new cooler coming, and basically 2 weeks from yesterday it'll be installed, which will allow me to. Hopefully, the goal will be to get 12 of my own beers on tap at some point, and then brew more. So I'm not completely full. The cooler's so full sometimes you can't even walk in it.
Well, that's a good thing.
It's a good problem. Yeah. But it'll be a better problem when the cooler doubles in size and then it's super full again.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Yeah. And we're going to take part in our first big event. I think it's a big event, but the Garden City Brewgrass here on August 18th. It's a Friday, and that's a little bit of a. So it'll just be between my building and Clairvoyant's building there, and and it'll be the two breweries plus alliteration ales, and we'll have 4 bluegrass bands over the course of I think 6 hours, 4 to 10.
Wow.
Yeah, it should be a really good time. Couple of food trucks.
That is a good time.
Yeah, something fun to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like you have about 8 of your beers on tap right now.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
And just a few guest taps.
I think guest taps are a fun thing. I've got one Seltz, which is a blackberry mojito. Excuse me. So that's fantastic for someone that doesn't like beer, but wants to come in with and still have a fun beverage. And then
I don't think those people exist. Who doesn't like beer?
I've seen it. There's a few oddities out there. I promise.
Okay, I'll trust you. Never seen it, but I'll trust you.
And I got a really nice, strong, dark beer, barrel-aged heavy forge from AleSmith. It's their pancake edition. There's 1 or 2 kegs brought into the state this last time, so I'm happy to be having that. I'm going to keep that on for a little while. And it's pretty good beer. But guest taps have been fun to have, too. That being said, I'd like to get rid of them at one point. Just serve all of our own stuff. But
Well, you've actually cut it down quite a bit since the last time we spoke, so
yeah,
it looks like you're almost there.
we're working hard. Yeah.
Do you plan on keeping something like the Celts on at all times, or are you going to start dabbling in that
I'd
realm?
like to keep the Celts stuff on. It sells well, and people actually really love it. Those drinks are fantastic. I think that Lee, the brewer and owner, one of the owners of that, he's really onto something. It's quite a unique product. So I'd like to keep one of those on, or 2 if I'm feeling summertime vibes. But then maybe even a keg cider, because those are gluten free as well. So those both are gluten free option that they just sell well, and people really like them. Seems like they're a good product. So yeah, that's the goal. And when the cooler comes in, if I could do another 4 taps, I would move some of my guest taps onto that section.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. So I guess let's get into it. We went out to Mill 95. This is not the busy season,
No.
so there was not a lot happening. I really encourage anybody and everybody to go out there and check it out, see what they do, look at the facility.
Totally.
They give tours
Yeah.
all the time.
It's not industry specific. I asked
Right.
that question, and they will allow, with advance notice, a family or a business that's interested to come on
Exactly
out
right.
and do a tour.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
I'm going to take my daughter out there. She's going to love it.
All right.
I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into all that. But this came about, like I said, we decided to talk to Mill 95. Actually, I sent an email out to Mill 95, and I got in touch with Ruthie. Ruthie is the one that we've been going back and forth, and we finally got this set up, got a day going, and we went out there, showed up a little bit early.
Yep. As we do.
Yes, it's better to be early than late. I hate
Totally.
being late, so we showed up early. Unfortunately, it didn't take that long to get from Boise to.
No, it was surprisingly. We actually had time for a pit stop at the Growler guys for a beer. How
Exactly.
wonderful of you can stop for a beer, you can go out there.
Right.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It was a great time. So we got out there. Ruthie was still in a meeting at the time. So Sam is the one that actually started the tour.
Yep.
So we'll play that for everybody right now.
Today, we are going to talk about who we are as Mill 95 and how we came about, what we do here and the services that are provided, and how we are disrupting the status quo in the industry. So,
Okay, and what is your name?
my name is Sam. I'm the
Sam.
customer service rep for Mill 95. I just started in March.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice to
it's
meet
my
you, Sam.
Nice to meet you too.
Great to have you for our tour.
Thank you. So Mill 95 was established in 2016 and is the first and only hop processor in Idaho. So that's kind of cool.
Oh,
If you
yes.
wanna
Very cool.
Shop local.
Yeah.
Our founder is Jamie Scott. She recognized an unmet need for Idaho hop growers. She turned that into an opportunity to provide hop processing, sales, and logistics services to growers and brewers alike.
So that was a really quick introduction of Sam,
Yeah.
and really quick of Mill 95. But
Sam was great. I enjoyed chatting with her. Super friendly, very nice. It sounded like she was getting ready to start a lot of the tours, so she's kind of learning the ropes along with us. We'd never been out there, so this was her first tour.
Yep.
But just a fantastic person, very organized and easy to work with. I also know that Sam's the delivery person, so if you've ever had Mill 95 deliver, this year, she's fairly new with the company, you've probably seen Sam.
Yeah.
And you've seen her drop off a lot of those hops.
Say hi to Sam and tell her you really enjoyed her on listening to her on the podcast.
Yeah. And they did mention they have several seasonal employees during the busy season. So when I get the opportunity to go back, I'll be interested to see how many bodies are running around that place in Hayes.
Oh yeah, she didn't know right off the top of her head how many seasonal, but the full-time employees, that is actually a low number.
Yeah, I think there were about 11
11.
to run that entire
Right.
massive facility.
That massive facility.
4 million pounds of hops, I believe they said they processed last year.
It's crazy.
That's pretty incredible. And their
So-
capacity was about 30 million in a year.
Yes.
They've got a
think so.
lot of room to grow.
Oh, yeah. And then we met Sam. And then this next part, we met Ricardo.
Mm-hmm.
He is the logistics manager. And we met Carl. So Ricardo and Carl. And Carl is the production and facilities manager.
Yeah.
And Carl was nice enough to join us for the tour,
Yeah.
which I don't think he normally does.
That was an Easter egg, or I'm not positive if that's the right term, but that was a real gem
Oh, it was.
to get him. He's been there. I think he was number 2 or 3 on site. He was one of the originals at that facility that started up. Works it full time, is always there.
I think he could sense
Wealth of knowledge.
how cool we were, so he just wanted to be around
Yeah.
us the whole time. So
Happens a lot.
yeah, it does. So here is the next clip that includes a little bit of Carl, a little bit more of Mill 95, and what is happening there.
So the mill is strategically located in the heart of Idaho's hop region. Its central location makes it easily accessible for growers within 15 minutes of each farm, roughly. So it's really convenient for all of our growers. We have, 4 growers in this region that we work with primarily?
Yeah, there's 9 total, but
Okay. 4 primarily, right? Okay.
Do you
So-
have an idea of how many acres they grow? Seems
well,
pretty incredible.
the last number that I had heard was it was close to 7,000 total in this area.
Okay.
Because there's 2,000 in northern Idaho.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
That Elk Mountain, that Anheuser-Busch farm is like 1,000 acres or something.
Okay.
So now at this point, this is where we actually went through the cooler,
Yeah.
and they
What
have.
a treat for a hot day.
It was very warm out there. They have 2 coolers, and one was completely empty. The other one had some stuff in it.
Yep.
So, what do you remember walking in that door? What's the first thing you remember?
Well, the first thing is the blast of cold air that hits you in the face.
Yep.
So you're going from a 95-degree day to about 35, 38-degree facility. It's massively different.
Yes.
And then right after the eyes start to squint in water, you get a burst of hop smell.
Oh, that
it was unbelievable. Tropical. It's like being inside of a daiquiri, I guess, is what I would.
Oh.
Really, really, really good smells in there.
That is one thing I love the most about traveling to some of the breweries and things like that is the hop smell.
Yeah.
I can't get
Yeah.
enough of it.
It's just
Love it.
fantastic.
So we went through there. They had some boxes stacked up,
Mm-hmm.
some bales.
The bales, I can't believe how high you can stack those bales. It's like
Right.
reminded me of Mother Earth in
Right.
Napa. You walk out and see those cans stacked that high.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
incredible, yeah.
And that was just like, what was it, 4 stacks of bales or something?
Yeah.
It wasn't that much.
No, that's the end of. I'm guessing that's the end of their crop from last year.
Right.
That's all that's left.
Right. And then here in the next month and a half,
Mhm.
it's going to increase dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
And those are going to get filled up quicker than you can believe.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It's gonna be a hopping place.
Oh, it is.
Hopping.
Bam. Nice. Maybe I got a little. Okay.
Appreciate that.
Anyway, so after we got through with the cooler, then we went in to see where all
Production.
the magic happened,
Production.
and
Yes.
it was quite amazing. So sit back, enjoy the next little bit, and we go through what it takes to actually make a pellet of hops.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Before we get the tour of the pelleting mill, we'll wash our hands.
Yeah, so we just got done. We rent an articulating boom. So when we had our FSMA audit, they come through. There's spider webs and this. You guys got to take care of that. So we spend a week
Scrubbing
65 feet in the air, wiping down light fixtures and walls and.
Wow.
So yeah, we're still kind of in the process of putting everything
Thank you.
back
Yeah,
together
we're
and
still-
prepping. So
We're still cleaning, so this is not our usual.
No worries.
Oh,
This is
no.
what it looks like in my
So-
brewery every
So,
3 days. Tearing apart.
so Mill 95 is the newest among a relatively small, probably no more than 10 large-scale hop processing lines in the U.S. The pelletizing line has a capacity of 55 million pounds. Did you say that's about right?
Yeah, we haven't touched that.
Okay.
I think the most that we've processed in a year is 3.5,
3.5. Okay.
roughly.
Okay.
Okay.
That first year, I think we did 500,000 pounds. Then we did 1 million. Then we did 2 million.
On a double shift basis, right?
Yeah, so there's
Okay.
a part of the year where we run 24 hours a day. Our throughput is a lot better that way. So when we go into our big runs where we're running, 40, 50,000 pound runs, and they're the same variety, we just go 24 hours a day and we just chase them. And so on that, when we run 24 hours, we can do 120,000 pounds in a 24-hour period. So it's insane.
Yeah.
Versus when we're running a 10,000 pound run, it takes us roughly an hour to an hour and a half to get the bales to the ground up and to the mix tank. So you basically have a 2-hour wait until that happens, and then this end shuts down. Then you got to wait for all the packaging to come through. So by running 24 hours a day continuously, you save that 4-hour, 3 to 4 hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start where the bales are broken.
So we'll put together a work order. We know which bales are coming in for that production order that we're going to run. Whether it's a blended run, we sometimes we'll have two different lots that we purchased, and we are going to blend them. And so they'll be built in the warehouse. And we label everything. This is what's coming in for this first batch, the second batch, and so on and so forth. So they'll bring the bales in here, and they'll set them down, and then we basically will knock them over with the forklift and then set them up on these roller tables. This was actually a brainchild of the Hop Quality Group. They don't want to see bales on the ground. So it actually helped us ergonomically. So I've been to other processors. They keep those bales standing up, and they use bale hooks, and they walk them to the bale breaker, and then they unzip them and then push them over. We let the forklift do all that work. So we set them down, and we just roll them over. We find the zipper, and then we run them through the belt.
Smarter, not harder.
Yes. Yeah, we've got 100-pound girls that come through here, and they're pushing 3-4 bales along this roller table, so it's quite nice.
Yeah.
So it goes along the roller table and then into the bale breaker, which is that machine over here.
We added this last year. So this is our bale flipper.
Oh, bale flipper. Okay, let's skip the step.
Yeah. Well, it's new. I don't know if she has it on the list. So
Okay,
we'll set those bales with the poly material on there, and we'll cut them and find that zipper on the bale. And so once we get them to this point, they'll push this on. This is actually normally laying down. They'll push it on there, and then they'll pull that zipper the rest of the way. Open the fabric, and then they press the 2 buttons over there, the safety switch, and that air ram will then flip that bale on top of here. And so they're both individually controlled speeds on both belts. So we can throw 4 bales on here, and then go get something else ready, and then you can speed this one up to catch the rest of them. So you can almost get half to 3/4 of a batch on this belt and be doing something else in the meantime.
Wow.
So once it goes through here and then goes up that incline, that's our bale breaker. So we have a frozen bale. So that it's basically rototiller tines is what it is. It's just there's two bars in there with arms on there, and they just break it up so that they're able to be moved. From that point, we have everything's all automated. We just go and touch the button. I want it to go to this side, or I want it to go to this side. From that point, that auger will switch it over, and then it will move it with cold air. So that room, I guess that's part of your next.
Yeah, we'll go to the hammer mills next.
So with that bale material, we had everybody switch over to white poly, so you can recycle it. So that's what the baler's for. The first year, we had gray, we had white, and we had a roll-off. And we just took this loose material and we threw it in there, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
And so then we talked to the recyclers. And said, yeah, we'll take it if it's all white. So then we reached out to all the growers. They switched it all to white. And so then we'll bail them up. And then we have a recycler that comes and picks them up.
Nice.
So basically that thing paid for itself in the first year from the cost of roll-offs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from there, from the breaker, it'll go through that auger, and it will be pulled through there with the cold air, which is generated in here. So we have two big chillers in here. There's two big chillers in here, so we set this right up to 30 degrees. I don't think it actually hits 30 because it's constantly pulling that air. It does get recycled, so it's cold in here. You come in here, you can see your breath. It smells terrific. These are our hammer mills, and we have different size screens depending on the variety that we run. So our higher oil hops, we use a bigger hole, so to speak, otherwise it just gums everything up and blocks it off. In order to get the right size grind, we can change the speed of these, we can change the size of the screen, just to make sure that we're getting a consistent grind that's gonna make the best pellet that we can. So we have two of them in here so that we can basically clean this one while that one's running.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they'll come in through the top here, and then it'll go down, and then go back out this bottom door, and then up into our cyclone and our mix tanks.
What size do they come out of this?
It's just a grind at this point.
We'll go over the pellets later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. All the pellets that we run are all a T90. They're all the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Same size. We also have the option to go to one of two mixers. These are 4,000-pound mixers. We found that you don't want to put 4,000 pounds of ground up hops in there because it lifts it to one side, and then so we run about 3,200 pounds, and we're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So we can fill one up. So this is, I guess, where my timing was, where we're running one day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll fill one tank up, and then once we start filling the next tank, then I can go start the pellet mill. And I'll empty, as the pellet mill's running, it'll draw that one as we're filling it. So we just sit there and go back and forth until we're done.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Well, both of you,
Yeah,
really.
no, you're good.
Do you ever get tired of smelling the hops?
Only one. Zeus.
Oh, really?
We run about 1 million pounds of Zeus, and it is not fun.
It smells like kind of like marijuana, right? Is that what it smells like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a high alpha. It's just a bittering hop, and we grow a lot of it here, and we run close to 1 million pounds or better
Wow.
of it. So that's usually what we're running our 24 hours, and everything smells. The smell of it is it's in your skin. It's in your it's. But when we run
Idaho 7,
Idaho 7 or Eldorado, when we're running Idaho 7, I mean, I'm singing, if you like pina coladas. I mean, it's a welcoming, and you can, because our fans, all of our bag houses, they exhaust outside. So when you pull in the parking lot, you can tell what we're running. But when we are at the end of the year, we're running Zeus. It's kind of a ho hum. That's when it feels like work. All the other varieties that we run, they all have their own unique aroma, and it's kind of pleasant.
Yeah. So do you give these tours during your busy season?
Yeah, that's especially when we give them, because that's when you can really see it up and running. You can't really see it.
It's got to be a little difficult.
Yeah, it will be. That's why we have the vest.
Right.
So that's
Be more careful.
we're getting Sam trained up to where she's so comfortable with it. Because during production, myself and everybody else is here. We're running.
Oh yeah.
So
Are these tours specific to industry, or could a family that was super interested come by?
Everyone.
We've given tours. We kind of like showing off, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, this is. There's been a lot of work and a lot of trial and error, and we're continuously just getting better at it, and trying to focus more on, as I said, focusing more on where how our growers are treating everything, and what we're getting, and how we're getting it, and then cross-referencing with them, and then sitting down with brewers, like, hey, what's going to make us stand out? What's going to make us? We're the little guy, so. when we're doing 3 million pounds versus 30 plus at other places. I mean, we are the little guy. We want to be better.
We focus on quality. Yeah.
So it's, I don't do anything to be second best.
Right.
Okay. So if you want to follow me, one hand on the rail, please.
A lot of people pay good money to use, stair climb. So. During production season, I'm usually up and down these 40 to 60 pounds.
These are our dies, and this is what the pellet comes out of. Do you want to elaborate on that part?
So we have 4 sizes. So this will be drilled out. It'll look like this before we fire it up. It takes a lot of work, but when you're trying to force something through to clean these, you tend to cause a lot more friction than you want. So we'll actually have our seasonal staff come in the first week of harvest. It's pretty slow. So, hey, there's not a truck. Come on in here and clean these out. So we have 4 different sizes, and the sizes are the thickness of the die this way. So you can see that this one is skinnier than this one, and that is dictated per variety. Our lower oil stuff, Crystal is like the thin die. We get into Zeus and Idaho 7, and some of those varieties, we go to the thick die. And that's really helped with throughput and that pellet quality. We found that out the hard way. We had one size die, and we had to run Crystal extremely fast in order to get a soft enough pellet. But vice versa, we had to run Idaho 7 so slow that you could almost leave and come back, and it was bad. So we quickly purchased different sizes, and it's not like you could take it's a cheap guess. Like, we need this size, and so it's worked. But it'll change even from lot to lot, from the same variety. I mean, we've got like a 3, a 3.5. I mean, some of them
based on moisture.
And we're starting to track that to where we've gotten to the point where we can change a die off of our pellet mill in less than an hour. So I can tell the guys, like, hey, start pushing bales. I'm gonna come up here and change this die out. So before they even get that full, we can start switching it over.
Bless you. And do you want to talk about like the elevators and how it goes from the blend tank to the pellet?
Yeah, we can start there. So everything, like I said, everything's automated. So I've got set points in the scale above the pelletizer. So that's going to tell the auger down there to speed up or slow down. And then when that tank's empty, it'll open the next one and shut that one so that the crew down below can continue to push bales. So all the white that you see here is all elevator. So they'll come from the mixed tank and go up these elevators. And before they do that, I guess I should have covered this before. We've got rare earth magnets throughout this entire process. So rare earth will pull stainless, it'll pull aluminum. It goes after it.
Yeah.
We installed all that stuff year 2. I mean, there was one above the hammer mills and one above the pellet mill, and then we've been adding them ever since. Whatever else we could do. So what'll happen is it'll come in off that elevator, and this tank starts on the 3rd floor, and then we can control the speed of this. So this speed is really what dictates the density of your pellet. The faster I run it, the softer it is. The slower I run it, the harder it is. So this door is normally shut, and then it'll drop down through here across the magnet, and then this auger right here is just basically forcing everything into the front of this. We have 3 press wheels versus most everybody they have 2. I don't know if that makes it it's different. I don't know if it's better or worse. I have really no idea. So from that point, when it's coming through here, that extrusion process, it's forcing them out. So this is spinning, and these wheels are sitting stationary. So that grind will go into there, and then the pellets will come out. And with that door shut, we force them all down into our cooler. They leave here at 105, 108 degrees because of the nitrogen. So we put liquid nitrogen to the outer part of this ring just to keep it cold. If we didn't have nitrogen on here, they'd be bad.
Yeah.
From the get go, they'd just be terrible. So we'll chill that to monitor that temperature, and there's thermometers, sensors all the way through the bottom of this that's telling us, hey, this is too hot, and so it'll just call for more nitrogen on its own. Certain varieties will run hotter than others, so sometimes I had to lower my set points, but outside of that, it does that itself. We'll do all of our quality checks. We have our thermal imaging guns. We're up here pulling samples with our scoops. I think it should be on that door, but we have these little doors so we can catch them straight off. And like I said, this is where I spend a lot of my time. Like I said, it's very, very important to us to make sure that every pellet that goes out of here is the best that it can be. So,
So how hot does it get right here? Where you are most of the time, how hot does it get up here? Not bad?
like this.
Okay. Not too bad.
It feels hotter when I'm running.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, we all talked about wearing steel-toe boots and this, that, and the other. I was like, no, we're going to wear tennis shoes because our knees all swell up and ankles were swollen by trying to run in hiking boots for 12, 15 hours a day on concrete. But outside of that, it'll drop down here into the cooler, which is right below us. And then where that goes, it'll leave here about 105, 108 degrees. It'll leave that cooler at room temperature or cooler. So that's usually 70, 75 when, in September, October, when we're actually processing.
When it goes to the cooler, it gets packaged at what temperature? Did you say?
It's usually room temperature, so I'd say roughly 70. Susie'd be more able to speak on that. Because once you get to like 120 degrees, then you start the degradation process, and you just activated all the oils, and now you're oxidized. And
So the nitrogen plays a key role there.
yeah, we go through a lot of it.
Yeah, I saw your tank coming in.
Yeah.
I assumed for packaging, but this
It's
is
both.
significant. Yeah.
Yeah, so the liquid portion goes to here, and then the gas goes to our packaging.
Very good.
So,
All right.
real quick, do any of you like homebrew or anything?
I
Here.
have home. Yeah. Here.
So you have a brewing system here in this facility
Yes.
that you brew for yourself.
No, it's
No, it's more for R&D and my liquor.
Oh,
Yes, he can show you our
Yeah, we'll-
whole pilot
I mean,
system.
what a better way to test product quality than
Right.
making a finished product and making sure it's up to your standards.
So other than Ruthie, nobody on our team, well, that's here. I guess Christian's brewed and Brian.
one of our sales guys. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Okay.
So we all come from different backgrounds, and we all kind of merge together. And
It's really a money ball situation.
Ah.
Everybody comes with a different set of skills, and together we, are greater than
Make it
some
work.
other.
found at CBC our first year, I get to talking to brewers, and they start talking brewer talk, and I just do the bobblehead on the dashboard, on the washboarded out road, like, sure, man, I have no idea what you just said.
I
So,
take notes.
yeah. It's like, I really like what you do. I have no idea what you just said.
Well, and the other side to that, though, is they really have no idea what you do and how valuable that is. I mean, I think there's a big part of that as well.
Yeah. That was one of the things when we did the tour of Mountain Malt, I was going through with a brewer. He goes, holy cow, I didn't realize just how much it took to, because think about it from the farm. I'm like, so I kind of smiled, and he's like, then they got to do this, then they got to do this, and then this, and this. And they go, yeah, think about hops. Like what they have to do on the field side before it even shows up to our facility, and I know what we do. And he goes, and then people complain about having to pay $5 for a beer.
Yeah, a lot goes into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to see the full circle.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you enjoy it a little bit more, I think.
No doubt.
I mean, before I just drank beer because I was drinking beer, and I was like, oh, this is okay. I'm getting this. I'm not Cicerone level at all, but
Not yet.
oh no.
As a brewer, it's really neat to see. I see hops in a package, and then I process those in my facility brewing. I didn't know you did half of this. This is pretty incredible. Yeah.
So is that your on your
Yeah.
You guys showed up on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and I started
sorry
following.
about that.
No, it's I was like, I seen that before.
Yeah,
Like, that's cool.
That's us, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where are you guys at?
Garden City.
You guys are going.
Yeah.
Come down, I'll
I've
show you
only,
mine.
I've only got like,
Yeah, how come you don't
You
work
can
out
fit
these
my
good
brewery in
amounts?
about this second. It's not very big.
Sorry.
I've only got like 30 more days until.
Where are you at, Garden City?
Trinidad Maple Grove,
Oh, okay.
between where the old County Line Brewery is, that's now Clairvoyant and Powder House. I'm like in the same property as Clairvoyant now.
Oh, okay.
Right behind Pop's Popcorn.
Best popcorn
Oh, I
around
know
too.
exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Yeah, and they're my neighbor. I share a well with them, so that's right where we're at. Yeah.
Fantastic. How's everything going?
Great, yeah.
It's funny. So the first time I did a delivery, I went to Payette.
Oh, wow.
And the brewer's like, hey, you want to try a beer? I'm like, yeah, sure, of course. And so I sat down, and he's like, no, you want to see the brewery? I'm like, sure. So I set my beer down. He said, no, bring it with you. I'm like, oh, okay, this is awesome. So they walked me through like their gigantic facility. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then our next delivery was to Barbarian, and James is like, you went where? Then you're here? Like he was in that, strip mall, and he's like, well,
By where they are.
Yeah.
There it is.
here's this. And we're done.
Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
Huge gondola. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, that was not fair. But it's
Small but mighty.
it's nice. And I was talking with Adam from Alliteration. He's like, we're real small. And I said, well, you realize you bought a house with a brewery that they outgrew this brewery to this one. It's,
Opportunity about 2 months ago to do a collaboration with Bear Island at that facility, and it's as clean as this one. I walked around there looking for dirt. This is really good. I couldn't find much. And I was just kind of blown away. It's very custom built, like really unique facility. And I thought, wow, how fun to go from. So I bought their old mash tun from their original brewery. So now I own, that's a 3-barrel. So I have that in my garage, it's an oversized garage. So I thought it was kind of neat. And that kind of led to doing a really cool collab.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So one thing that we left out in this little segment was all about the packaging tank, the Conchetti.
Conchetti.
Yeah, Conchetti.
The Ferrari of packaging tanks.
Exactly. What did Carl say? It was a Italian and a one-off.
Yeah,
So that's why they called it the Ferrari.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It's quite the machine. You see things like that when you work at Micron or on, like I've worked in those places. You see such an intricate machine, and it's like, wow, I wouldn't want to be the guy that had to make a repair on that. But it's pretty incredible to see it in person and kind of go through the process of how something like that actually works.
Right. It definitely didn't fit in
No.
with everything else for sure. But the thing about the machine, it works primarily with the Mylar, and they have like I guess it would be like a tube of Mylar.
Yep.
That's all rolled up because the sides are welded. So then they fill it up, seal it, cut it,
Purge, package, and
Yeah.
deliver. Yeah.
and they use the 11 and 22 pound bags.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about maybe going in between or maybe going smaller,
Yeah.
but it doesn't sound like they're quite there yet.
I imagine the 11 and the 22 roll it looked like it was the same roll, and that machine can measure and cut those with a heat weld on the fly. So to go into a 5-pound bag that was the width of an 11, that's probably a little different. I imagine that would be like a whole nother setup and a whole day of setup and testing and making sure that worked. So I could see why that would be a little bit of a harder sell right out the gate.
Yeah, and I think that if you tried to use the same bag, then you have a lot of waste, which Mylar is not cheap.
Not cheap.
No. So I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
But we did ask them if they were maybe going to try to do something different than Mylar.
Yeah.
And Carl kind of gave us the inside scoop.
It's kind of a neat thing. You hope that there's a bigger and better product coming out that comes faster. I did like it reminded me of when they chatted about the bags, the bale bags being all being white.
Right.
They transferred over to being white, and they were able to recycle everything. So it's like that might be the next big improvement that they have or can find, is to take the whatever that size of Mylar is. Maybe there's a better size, or maybe they get feedback from the brewers. We need the bags a little less, you know, a little. The width on these bags is killing the storage space inside of my cold storage. So maybe they find a smaller and taller bag that allows them to do 7 pounds or 5 pound bags.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Oh, exactly. And I think that right now, with their super secret testing that's going on right now, it will actually be recyclable material,
Fantastic.
which
Yeah.
Mylar isn't.
No.
And from what I understand, that's damn near one of the only things that is not recyclable at Mill 95 right now.
Yeah. That was pretty cool to see how sustainable their business practice is, and to kind of watch and see that unfold as you go through the facility. It's a big point for them is sustainability. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. It was just amazing. I'm sorry. I'm speechless.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Up next, we kind of talk a little bit about testing.
Mhm.
You're going to hear a little bit about the testing,
Yeah.
what everything goes through. And then we kind of get down and dirty and really talk about beer.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, that was a good time. The thing is, as soon as we got done with the tour, we went back into the cooler room. I mean, it was kind of warm in the whole place.
Yeah.
but that's when we started talking about beer, what we like, what we don't like, what magical hops are coming out. And honestly, we could have spent, I mean, this could be like a 3-hour podcast right here.
It surely could.
Because
I feel like they went into extra innings for us. There's no doubt. What would have been a 30, 45-minute tour turned into probably closer to 2 hours.
So I think that since it was not the busy season, then maybe we did get a little bit better of a tour
Yeah.
than they
No doubt.
normally give. And maybe because I was recording too, and like Carl says, he likes to show off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He wants to like put it out there and let everybody know that
You do something, you give it 100%. That's
Yeah.
what he was all about. I love that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Enjoy that conversation, and we'll be right back to wrap it up.
Cheers.
So then after this, we take one bag after we've been through 50 of them, and we take it to the lab for our quality assurance.
They'll check away the bags to make sure that it's like within less than 1%. And we check that there. We monitor everything. I mean, I'd hate for you to get a 10.7 pound bag. And at the same time, I don't want to send you an 11 pound 3 ounce bag. You know, this doesn't. So we'll check away. It helps us that way. We do our oxygen test as well. So we shoot for 2% or less, preferably less, which we can also change all of that there at the control panel. We also check the seal. So that's what this pressure tank is. So we'll take one of those bags. She also checks the COA to make sure that COA is correct. She's also taking a sample from that bag. So that sample actually gets the same SSCC code as our pallet. So our traceability is to the point where if it's on that pallet, we have a sample from that pallet, and we can tell you, we can trace it down to the pallet level. They'll set a bag in here, and they'll add pressure to it to make sure our seal's all hold. The last thing that we want to have happen is everything's hunky-dory, and there's just a tiny little hole that basically allows oxygen back into that bag that we did all the work to make sure it wasn't there. She'll also do a fines test. So that's what that little brass tub is there. So she'll take a sample of that. She'll put it in there, run it to make sure that our fines are at an acceptable level as well. They also do a density test to make sure that the densities are within spec. And that's kind of where my brain, I have my own artistic mindset of, I don't care what your density says, this is what I want the pellet to be. But so we're trying to find a better way to test that density.
So Carl, what happens if you get something in here and it doesn't pass at one of these stages?
So that pallet, depending on what the issue is, that pallet gets discarded, and we dump everything back.
And then do you do a hard stop on?
We'll stop this machine.
Yeah.
Take that what's on that pallet. We open it up. This is the costly part of it. So we'll open it up. I can reuse that box, but I can't reuse a Mylar bag.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll cut those bags open to her last check. So on 11 pounds, if she checked box number 15, then anything, and it was good, and then she checked 20, then we'll take those 5 boxes, cut them open, and put them back.
And then I'm assuming, so you're going to stop the process at that. How long do you have before you start to back up and you can't?
It all really depends on where I'm at in that tank.
Okay.
That packaging machine is built to do over 8,000 pounds an hour.
Yeah.
Because when this building was initially put in, it was meant to have 2 more hammer mills, another bale breaker, another pellet mill, and they were all going to feed into that one packaging.
Got it. So you have quite a bit of capacity.
Yes, but when you're running 8,000 pounds an hour at 11-pound bags,
Yeah.
that person putting stuff inside that box and the person over here stacking them is not happy. They're not happy at all. So, like I said, we try to keep it in the middle to where, okay, if something goes wrong, which Murphy's Law, if it can, it will.
And especially with Mylar, in my experience, you get a lot of flawed Mylar.
We were almost full to the point where I ran to the top and I took one of our handles and I pressed the hops away so I didn't have to shut the pellet mill down. While we changed the roll of Mylar, because the seal that was on the one side, it failed, and we dumped hops down, and I'm like, oh no, we're in trouble. So I went up and I'm like, hurry, and so they switched it out and we got it in the next roll. Thank goodness was a good roll, but
You'll find that Mylar, and my experience again, that's usually where things fail, is in the quality of Mylar.
yeah, and it happened to be from an American company that was doing Mylar. It failed. All of it comes from, the majority of Mylar comes from China, so we try to do as much U.S. as we possibly can, other than our Ferrari.
Right.
From here, I'm in constant communication with the lab. You're ready to speed up or slow down, or hey, this is getting close, or it's getting hot, or it's getting cold, or it's getting, the oxygen's going up, or your weight's off. It's just tell me where I'm at. You got to walk fast, Susie, 'cause she's got little short legs. But yeah, you don't stop. The seasonal staff does. I mean, I couldn't stand and stack boxes all day. I'd get too bored. I enjoyed being on a constant jog, so to speak.
So I don't think we hit this before, but how long have you been working here?
I was in employee number 2.
So
I
we
was-
started in 2016. The
Right.
facility started in 2016.
17 was our first harvest.
Yeah, good. So you were here in 2017? Oh,
Yeah, Carl's probably seen everything. That
I
we
was
know.
I was here before everything, before the building was actually finished. DJ was here. He was the brainchild. So that's kind of a luxury that we have here. We're not the first to do it. So he was able to go and tour Yak Chief and Hollingberry and see how they did it and then improve upon it. And after year 1, we were already saying, man, we should have made this wider. We should have, it'd have made this easier and this easier. If there's another one built, pretty sure it would be better than what ours is. Brewers are a really cool community in the fact that, I'm your competitor, but I don't want to see you fail. I want to help you out.
Or I want a place where I can drink beer too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or somewhere that I can refer someone to, or
Yeah.
you establish loyalty in the market, like between you call them competitors, but everybody comes to work together. I'm sure.
The hop growers are the same. They say harvest isn't done until everybody's done.
Yeah.
So you'll see, Goodings bringing their equipment over to help somebody else, or they're bringing their hops to their facility to be processed and baled, and it's neat. Coming from the other side of ag where it's cutthroat and
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you come into this and everybody's just like, oh no, we'll help them, we'll do this, and it's neat.
No, it's really cool. So does anybody here know how many pelletizing factories are in the United States?
No, and I was trying to find that out yesterday, and they Because on our little fact sheet, it said
Yeah.
this is the newest one.
Yeah.
But we don't know how old that is, and is there a newer one? There's not a. Do you know of
I
any?
think there is a newer one.
Yeah,
And I think it's in Montana.
Oh,
So he,
Second newest one.
yeah, but it's very small.
it's very small. I think he's a grower and a processor. So I think Bale Breaker does that.
okay.
But he came in here and was asking questions, and DJ helped get him set up with some of the people that got us going. Same thing on his picking facility. He needed a wolf, and he's upset that he did the wolf and didn't do the American. It's like,
Well, it depends. Like, how do you want to scale, right?
yeah.
Do you want a big operation because a wolf is going to limit that a little bit?
It's just like anything. You know, you can get a German baler for, you know, a quarter of the cost. You know, you can go put 4 of those in versus
One down.
yeah.
Are
And
you meaning pelletizing facility, like any kind of pelletizing facility, or hop pelletizing facility?
Just hops. Just the ones that
hops.
matter.
Okay.
You don't care about wood pellets?
No.
Yeah, I was
no.
like, because there's probably
No.
a lot of pelletizing facilities out there.
There aren't a lot of hop pelletizing facilities. It's very unique that there's one in Idaho. And I'm from Yakima. So
Right.
coming out here and seeing this facility, I was pretty floored at not only the level of excellence that I see from the people that work here, but the overall cleanliness and commitment to quality every single day. So
with such a small team, everybody here has this sense of ownership. We'll own
Yeah.
absolutely everything that we do,
yeah.
and it's like devastating if something happens to go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's nice when the entire team's that way. They're willing to go the extra mile, and it's almost one of those things where when somebody's putting in a little bit extra work, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
We're kind of self-competitive at the same time. And say, hey, you've been here 16 hours. You should probably go home. Well, you go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with such a small team, you do a lot of different jobs. No one's job is singularly focused. And I think, you know, you have to be dynamic, but everybody is dynamic. There's not just one person doing one job.
Oh, that's
And I
not my job.
Yeah, that attitude doesn't exist. It's just
Mhm.
I don't think
good.
I've ever heard that at this company.
So our COO, you'll see him out here pushing bales. You'll
Yeah.
see him out here like,
Yeah.
sweeping floors and stuff like that. So
He does everything.
from the top down, there's nobody that's too good to do anything, and it's fun. You see him come out here and he's like, "Hey, you go to break." Our seasonal like, "What are you talking about? Go to break. I'm tired of looking at a computer screen. I'm gonna stack boxes, or I'm gonna put bags in boxes."
Oh,
And
right on.
Yeah.
so it's fun. Everybody cares about one another, and we all just want to be the best.
Yeah.
You know, so
The best in her job is the best in her industry.
Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah.
so I told Susie, like, why? Like, if I was a janitor, I'd be the best janitor. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, that toilet would smile back at you. Like, I want to be. I don't want to do anything if I'm not going to try to be the best at it.
Yeah.
So if I ever lose that, then I'll retire. I can't afford to retire, but you know.
Do you have any questions for us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Feel free to
Oh, yeah.
ask.
lots of questions.
Well, no, not lots of questions. I mean, a lot of them were already answered, and
Yeah.
that was all taken care of. But then there were some offshoot questions, I'd say.
You want to go in the collab room? It's
Yeah,
a
it's a
little cooler
little-
in there. It's
Sure.
kind of getting toasty in here.
Oh, you guys want to see our cool little brew system?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I'll do it. I got 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. We would love
So
that.
we did a collab with, well, our first brew we did was all in house, and it was okay.
I haven't had another in-house
And then we tried to revamp it, and so we brought on Adam from Alliteration came out, and we did a short shotty pale ale. We used Zappa. This last year's Zappa was just the aroma of it just blew me away. I mean,
That was the Neo Mexicanos hop that was found growing. Yeah, and reproduced, yeah.
and this last year, Rich come in from the warehouse. He goes, "What are you running?" I said, "It's Zappa." He's like, "No." Yeah, it is. And so it was okay. I think we needed more hops in it, but we were able to get hands on. We started moving stuff around. And then Jerry Larson from Mad Sweet came out and we did a beer. We used Pacifica, Bravo, and something else. And we did a pale ale. I don't think we used any of the experimentals. We may have. And then right now I'm working to get Keith from Spring Creek to come out. And it's more of a chance for us to pick brain.
That's an educational component, right?
Yeah.
Is that any part of the brewmance that you guys do? The videos that a while back when Corey was here, he was going around and talking with some of the brewers. I watched a few of his videos, went to several different ones.
Yeah, it was a content. Yeah.
The collab beers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did watch a few of those, and that was really cool. And I didn't know if you guys were going to keep that up because I haven't seen one.
We haven't been videoing them, but we still do them. We kind of do it more to learn. So our whole team comes out here and we gather around the brewer and we all just get to learn and ask questions and use our hops.
The video content that we are working on right now would
It's
be
Hops
Hops 101. So
Okay.
So it's
they
more grower focused.
they've been
Idaho
spending the
focused.
time on what it takes, and so that's going to be released.
That should be released in September. The point of that, though, is, like I said, to focus on Idaho. What's unique about Idaho? Why pay attention to Idaho farmers and the hops that are coming out of this region, and the mill as well.
We get to showcase, our growers here. Like
Yeah.
they've kind of been, you get hops from Yakima. They're not, even though they were purchased from a grower here in Idaho. They don't these are
Yeah.
Idaho hops
Right.
from Jackson or from Gooding or they don't. It doesn't do that. So it gives us that opportunity to hey, these guys, they're
There's
here.
something special going on here. And having come from Yakima as well, I have this other perspective where Idaho, I always thought of it more as like an overflow. So what they couldn't grow in the Yakima Valley because they were at capacity, they would grow in Idaho. And then it would come back to Yakima and they would blend it all together and then they would sell it as a vendor. So it's been a learning experience for me to come out here and realize, there is something very different about what's grown out here and it deserves to be a standalone product. And I think that's the heart of Mill 95 as well. It was started to kind of respond to that Idaho farmers weren't being adequately represented.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until I got here, and I was like, whoa, this is totally unique.
Along with the collab, I see a lot of times, hey, Mill 95's doing a collab with Mother Earth or Mad Sweet. What exactly does that entail?
Like Mammoth, you could talk about
Yeah,
maybe the
Mammoth.
one.
I think I didn't see the video on Mammoth.
Oh.
The ones that I'd seen that we were in the breweries, I think Corey and Christian had gone to, I can't remember who it was, did a collab with them. So we brought the hops, they had everything else. They helped on brew day and then went back on the kegging day and were able to sit down, talk about the hops, their experience during the brew, like what they were using, and then talk about the brewery itself and what they did.
Yeah.
At their facility.
What was it, Ursula?
No, not over here.
Yeah, we did one with Ursula.
Did you do one with Roadhouse as well?
I don't know if we did a collab. We've done collabs.
And those are pretty simple where you send them hops and they do with them.
Yeah, so
Not
So technically, you guys do collabs with damn near everybody across the U.S.
if we're trying to highlight
But-
a variety or we're trying to get some sensory feedback on it or we want there to be, not just a highlight for us but for other consumers.
Rio Bravo was one.
Rio
Yeah.
Bravo was one.
They did a tattoo beer.
We didn't
Our logo is actually tattooed on owner's daughter's leg.
Wow.
Wow.
So they went down, did a collab brew with them, and she's like, that logo is really awesome. She's like, I'd get a tattoo of that. Like, really?
Not the Mill 95 part though.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Mill 95.
the whole logo.
Oh, wow.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the whole logo is on her thigh.
Wow.
Like I said, that's commitment. I've
That
been
is.
here since day one, and I don't have that tattoo.
Yeah.
But
Loyalty.
it was it's a lot of those things where it's like, hey, I have a really good idea. I want to try this hop or this, that, and the other. Blue Pit did a Pat Tillman beer, so we donated hops for that. As far as the collabs that we've done here, it's not a collab. We can't sell.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're here to, hey, do you have one of these new hops? Let's
have fun with it.
Yeah.
So we sit down and it's every brewer. I mean, there's a million and one ways to brew a beer. What's your, how do you do it versus them? You could take the same recipe and give it to 10 brewers
Right.
and get 10 different beers
Yeah.
at the end of it. So it's kind of like, what do you do different? So that way when we're having a conversation, we actually understand some of the brewing side of it. And so trying to figure out ways that we can train the staff and have a good time while we're doing it.
And get to know other breweries.
Yeah. Let's
Like
move
this
into
one.
the collaborative.
It's a little cooler in there.
thought you're always cold.
right
I was cold all day today.
Yeah,
So
have
what-
a seat too.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were talking about highlighting hops and things like that. What is the next great thing?
The next great
The
hop.
next big hop that's
Well, there's always
coming out.
there are always new hops coming down the pipeline. You should know that. Public and proprietary. We work in public hops almost exclusively, so that's what we pelletize everything, but we sell public hops. Right now, we're really excited about pink.
HBC 170.
It's not an HBC. It's a what are they? It's Ocho, but it's Idaho 8. or
EXP 158.
Oh.
yeah.
Pink.
Yeah,
So
that's what they.
Hollingberry's calling it Ocho, but
They're gone.
Nate Jackson's wife wants it to be called Pink.
Yep.
So we're calling it Pink.
All right.
So if you see it pink, it's coming from us, right? We're the only
Right,
one
right.
selling it as pink, right?
Until they get the name. Kind of.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
because they're still trying to go through the trademarks and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So that's a fun one. I thought it was really jammy. I had a couple of different beers with it recently, and it was like a red kind of berry fruit. And that's what I picked up.
I haven't had
Bubble
anything
gum
other
is
than
what
it.
I've heard.
Bubblegum is
too.
another one, so the name pink is pretty appropriate for it.
Yeah.
So the reason they call it, that she calls it pink is that they marked it, that field was marked off with pink flags.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
It's the only reason, but it kind of goes with it.
Yeah,
That
it
sounds-
kind of worked out.
So I get grapefruit from it, and then I was talking with Idaho Brewing Company, and like, most people think that it's bubble gum, but it's actually grapefruit that they're smelling the bubble gum from. Like, oh, so we're both right.
Yeah.
Right.
Pink is really, that's a new one that I think is going to pop off. YQH 1320. That is a found hop. It was found here in Idaho, but it's been cultivated in Yakima. And then for the first year ever, they are growing it here in Idaho again as a crop. So that's coming out of Gooding Farms, and we have yet to see what that'll turn out like. But I mean, being from Idaho, I think it's going to probably be better represented here. But I recently had a beer with 1320. I thought it was really nice. It's not super bitter. So it was just a really, really clean finish on a pale ale done by Drew Brew. And it was a single hopped beer. Again, you've got all the experimentals that are always coming out. Aroma is a brand new hop.
Three H's.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. I'm not sure on the. That's coming out of Glacier Hops. I don't know a ton about Aroma. I had never worked with it before, so I can't speak to that, but that's a new one.
There's one that
think
we
you covered
processed this
it.
year for Hop Research Council that I really wish that we could play with.
Oh.
It's 333.
333. Go Bears.
Oh.
When you rub those
yummy.
hops, it smelled. I got a stick of juicy fruit gum.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Super.
and then somebody
fruity.
said like a red starburst, and he said gummy bears. I'm like, this could be really good. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially after you touch so much hops, right? This little bale came through, and you've touched Cascade and Centennial, and you're touching all these different hops, and then you get one, and you're like, oh, it's just another experimental, and you touch it, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Let me do that again. I'm gonna wash my hands, clean my hands, take a second, let them dry, make sure, and then do it again. I'm like, oh man, it was great.
I had an experience with hops last year like that. I'm not going to say what it is because it's proprietary. No, it was 1019. It was really, really nice. It was like a very bright, I was getting a little bit of lemon, a little bit of mint. It was just a totally unique experience.
yeah, Vista was that way.
I
Yeah.
got a lemon out of this time.
Yeah.
Vista's nice. But when you consider terroir, region-specific varieties, you get a totally new experience with a lot of hops. Amarillo, I've heard, is really good. Chinook is really good out of Idaho. Idaho 7, which is now really widely cultivated in Yakima, but it's, in my opinion, much better if it comes out of Idaho. Idaho Gem, of course, it's going to be special in Idaho, and they're cultivating that in Yakima as well. So, I mean, when you open that up, you get a whole new perspective on a hop that maybe you were really familiar with or thought you knew really well. So that's kind of what I think we're trying to do here.
And with the Idaho 7, so when they first started here, so up here on the bench, there's a lot of clay soil, and then down in Arena Valley, there's a lot of that sandy loam.
Yeah.
You would get different, just from being 3 miles down.
Yeah, you'll get that in a single lot sometimes if it's on a steep hill. Different, it's imparting different flavors at the top of the hill than it is at the bottom. That's very common.
So who's your biggest producer around here?
Obendorf.
Have you guys ever been out here around?
No.
So that's a cool thing too, like the whole community thing, right? Like I got into hops and I was like, hops, I just like the hard work. And then eventually it was just like, oh man, you do a good job. Like, can I learn from you? And then you stay a little bit later at work after you've been here 12 hours a day, and then someone shows up and has a beer and you're like, sure, but you just, the knowledge that you get from everything, they're willing to tell you about everything and let you know, like you can tell that they care so much about what they do.
Yeah.
That they just spread all their knowledge wherever it goes.
They're happy to talk about it. They're happy to share the experience. You're in a position too where you can come out and you can see growers and you can see hops being picked. And I think having grown up in the Yakima Valley and being around hops my whole life, I had never gone to a picker until probably 6 years ago. And it just blew my mind because it's so global as well.
Yeah.
So it's region specific, but then you realize like Yakima hops and Idaho hops, they're going everywhere. They're on every continent, almost every continent, which is pretty exciting to be a part of that, I think.
Right. So that kind of leads up to the next question. Where's the farthest that you've shipped?
I mean, probably Rich would know better than I would at this point. I'm 5 weeks into
Russia
this
the
one.
furthest? What would you consider the furthest?
Yeah.
Europe?
I guess we're
Which
China,
depends on where you're at.
Taiwan.
Well, it depends on if you go from here to
Argentina,
this way, or
I
you
mean,
go this way, or you
Yeah,
go this
Russia,
way.
China, everywhere.
So
I
pretty
mean,
much everywhere.
Yeah,
for
we
the
haven't
Russia
shipped to
thing, it's
Antarctica
like
as far as
Russia,
I-
we've done like Spain, we've done a couple to Spain, like Europe, that area.
yeah.
South America is pretty big, I feel
Yeah.
like, and then they're just getting bigger.
Well, to go back to what Carl was saying about MRL, so testing the hops before they get pelletized, a lot of that has to do with export. So you have to have the hops tested at various different periods in their life to make sure that they are sanitary and can be shipped wherever, because every country is going to have regulations about what they'll take in. The European Union is going to be the most difficult, easily, to ship to. Not necessarily the most remote, just the most difficult.
Bryce, do you have a question? Because I got several more, but I want to let you talk for a minute.
Sure. I've been thinking, being at this big hop facility, I'm curious if you have a favorite beer locally or worldwide. Just
I have a favorite beer.
Go for it.
I love Johnny Utah by Georgetown.
Oh, okay.
That's my go-to.
I like hearing more now.
That's my
You
go-to.
got it.
That's
Well,
what I keep in my fridge,
Yeah,
and I think they do an incredible job. And they're hop purists, and they really appreciate, some of them. I would liken them almost to Sierra Nevada, except they're not doing whole cone. But I think that they do an excellent job.
Johnny Utah's bomb.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my go-to.
right on.
That's a good one.
I don't know. I'm still new in the industry, so you guys are probably gonna make fun of me. But I think my favorite is probably from Mother Earth, and I like their Cali Creamin'.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It
think
takes all
it's
kinds.
really good.
Never
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
bad about your.
And do you like sours too?
Yeah, I do like sours also.
She makes me
Yeah.
try them just so
Yeah.
she can see my face.
Yeah, I like his facial expression
Oh.
after he tries
Yeah.
one.
What about you, Carl?
City of Trees or Boo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so is it Buku or the cold IPA Buku?
Oh, that was good too.
Okay, that's, I'm curious now. Which one? Because that one's a.
Depends on the time of year. It tastes the same. One's just lighter than the other one, but If it's in the middle of summer, I'd do the cold.
Cold IPA's bomb, for sure.
For who?
Me. So I think kind of got into hazies a little bit more, but I'm probably gonna have to say my favorite beer was the Rio Bravo one, the Galena. That tastes like strawberries. The tattoo beer.
The tattoo beer.
It was so good. So good.
It was like what they used Triumph and Bravo and
Was it early pick? Was it early pick Galena or late pick
Or
Galena?
yeah, is it early?
Early. It was something else, I thought. Because, I don't know, like I drink some beers and I'm like, oh, that tastes like beer. You know, that tastes like beer. This one's, more fruity than another one.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, as far as like sensory goes, I can't pinpoint everything. But when I tried that Rio Bravo, no one said anything or, because I could tell you, oh, this one tastes like strawberries, and you go drink it and you're like, oh, that's strawberries. It's like, I don't know if it's like a mental thing or what. But I drank it and I was like,
The power of persuasion.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is what this is. And someone said strawberries, and I was like, holy smokes, like that. Like, it's just, and it was good. It was really good.
So we all sat around and filled the cup and we're like, okay, don't say a word, and we all drank it, and then, okay, what was it? And somebody said strawberry, and I was like, yup.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd have to say that one, a local though, there's a lot, the pink beers that the locals have done, I think are all pretty good. But I like the cold.
Oh, yeah,
I
the
like the cold
Treehouse.
IPA, Buku. Cold IPA, Buku's bomb.
I don't know if this is local, but the Highwayman at Roadhouse. is
Oh crap!
So
I forgot.
good.
Okay, hold on.
That's so
Let's change this
good.
down.
I love that beer.
The Walrus.
I'm
The
I'm like, do you
Walrus.
consider? I was
That's
like, do
it.
you consider
Hey,
that one local?
Walrus
I don't
is
know.
my
I
favorite.
would.
Trout Whistle was one of my favorite that they did.
Got good beer, yeah.
They changed it too towards the end, and you're pissed. You're all something's not right about this.
I called Max. What did you do?
The Walrus. We'll just settle down the Walrus,
Yeah.
and then probably Rio, and then probably Mother Earth.
But they did a beer with the pink that was fantastic. Black Canyon did a beer with the pink that was fantastic. I think they're all hazies. I don't think I've
Yeah,
had.
they have all been a hazy, I think, but they're really good. I think the pink. I'm very excited for the pink to
Yeah.
see what happens with that. To be honest, and see what happens really, because you have Idaho 7 that was like super big, and then it's big. Like there's people that really like Idaho 7, and I think there's others that Idaho 7's Idaho 7.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and like what Ruthie was saying, like how it grows here compared to Washington.
Yeah, come on,
people,
and blend
yeah,
it together, it gets lost.
Yeah, people forget, or people like the Idaho grown, like Idaho 7. So I'd be curious to see what pink grows like that way compared to here,
Yeah, I think applying that broad stroke and saying, well, this hop was developed and now we can grow it wherever hop growing regions are. We saw this happen with Strata, where the quality in Strata that was grown outside of Oregon was different than what was grown in Oregon. It was developed in that region, and I think there's more and more education about the value of individual regions and where hops are developed, and they kind of need to mesh. So.
Oh, you guys are up. Beers?
Yeah, what are your favorite beers? You can't say brown beer.
No, well, that'd be so shameless self-promotion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you can, but you.
No, I tend to lean towards the European style hefts. Like so, Hofbrau Dunkel's always been like my favorite. Or if I can find it, I'll buy it no matter what. Just crisp, clean hef with a nice banana clove and some of the dark malt flavors that meld into that really well. That's for sure my favorite beer. It's you can't always find it too, so I kind of like you're searching through the bottle shops looking for that special treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I'm kind of more into the IPAs and hazies, and if I'm going local, I would say that most of the time Mother Earth's Project X series is a really good one. If I'm going not local, I'd say Great Notion
Oh, yeah.
has some of the
Great
best
Notion.
hazies.
Forgot about Great Notion.
Right.
My
Rich.
It's
Favorite.
too hard.
I gotta leave. This is not cool, man.
My favorite beer was my next beer.
Oh, crap.
Cold beer.
Yeah.
Great beer.
Can we do like cold beer, free, like different categories?
Different beer styles.
I love Great Notion. Great
Yeah,
Notion.
I like plenty of the older too. So
yeah, right.
I've had a couple of bottles of that this year for the first time, and the hype was real. I thought it was
Yeah.
quite good.
Oh, it is good.
Yeah.
Buddy of mine, he and I both like the hazies, and I was up in Seattle last year, early spring, and had some Great Notion. I had no idea what it was. I just drank it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. So I came back and we couldn't find it. Somebody from the podcast said, hey, you can go over to Ontario and you can go to Bert's Growler Garage
Yeah.
and get some. So we went over there a few times.
Wait, they have Great Notion
And-
cans there?
Yeah. And we would
Do they
spend.
get it delivered pretty regularly?
Homebrew stores have them in town now
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
They
it's
really?
like
We
yeah,
recently-
it's a bulk
Whoa,
order.
A
Rich.
scout
I'm like
distributing.
getting like butterflies right now. Like I get married and I'm like, whoa, that's what it feels like. You got a second way going. Let's go.
They are readily available. You can find some on tap too,
Yeah.
which is
I was able to
fantastic.
get a keg of ripe at one point when I threw that on. It went quick. People love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I had-
Business bottles.
I had a beer in Idaho Falls, the Freem.
Oh, Freem is
Yeah.
excellent.
Out
Yeah.
of Hood River.
Oh,
That black can.
the black
Yeah,
can.
that-
I had some of that. It was good.
Yeah, Freem is excellent.
Oh yeah.
I had a friend, or my brother's friend. He lived in Portland, so so every time he went up there,
Yeah,
and I had a friend hit the line, to get some cans.
yeah.
Get whatever, and he got me a little 6-pack. I was like, yes. I had a double stack. I'll do porters every once in a while.
Yeah.
Double stack
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Wife let me
Phenomenal.
do it one time. I was like, can I double stack with some of my biscuits and gravy in the morning for breakfast? She's
Yeah.
like, go ahead. It was perfect.
Yeah.
But they Great Notion's it's cool, and I honestly didn't even know that Bert's Growlers has Great Notion cans there.
Yeah.
So now, that's
Yeah, you'll be
you live in
venturing
this
to
up,
I'm
Ontario.
gonna have to get a advance, get a payment or get a check in advance for some
Just
beers.
make it out to birds.
Yeah,
Just have to make it out to birds.
Bert's is cool.
Do you have a lot of sales to Idaho?
Yeah,
brewers?
absolutely. That's a big majority, and that's
Fantastic.
where we try to put a lot of our focus.
love
But
it.
like I said, we ship internationally. We work all over the country.
We have an East Coast sales rep too.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
right
sell
on.
a lot to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It was neat. I was doing a cruise through Italy and Greece, and our last stop was in Croatia, and there was a little brewery, Croatia Brewing Company. I can't remember the name of the town, and I would happen to go in there and saw the brewer, and I was like, hey, I started talking to him, and I was like, where do you buy your hops? He's like, well, Yakima Valley. So this whole region from Yakima here to Idaho it's like world renowned for hops, the best hops that you can get.
Yeah.
So to just jump into this 5-gallon brew system with 10-gallon tanks, he had a 5-barrel system with 10-barrel tanks, and he was pushing, this region's hops. I thought, that's kind of cool, because that's exactly where I buy my hops from.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
to be literally halfway around the world and
You're like, oh yeah.
Who was it?
up and coming.
I think it would be neat. You kind of see like, oh, I've spotted milk products, Mill 95 products in this brewery, and this is where it's at, or
Yeah, and our traceability is so good. You could even go all the way back to the lot that it was grown in and how far it got in the world.
Scan it real quick right on the bag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know there's technology out there. I worked with a repackager in the UK called the Malt Miller, and they had QR codes on everything, and when you scanned it, they could see exactly where you were.
Oh wow.
I
And
think ours has that.
yeah, it was pretty cool because they're like, look at this map, and it's all over the world at this point. Kind of a cool feature of technology, I guess.
Oh yeah. Nice way to collect data. Find
Yeah.
out where you're making
Yeah.
sales, making new sales.
Yeah, especially because you
Try
get
to find
these
out how that sale became.
you get these other markets that are kind of third party, like Blue Blend Exchange, where hops could end up anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nothing against Blue Blend Exchange, but if you can get it direct from the source, that's always going to be better.
You know your quality's there.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
there's no doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't know if whoever put it on Lublin Exchange purchased it and it sat on their porch for.
Yeah, has it been
6
shipped all
months,
over the
and-
country? Where has it been sitting? How has it been stored? Yeah, you don't know any of that stuff.
So I lied. One more question.
Oh,
I was gonna ask this before, but then got caught up with something else. But
was talking to a brewer, someone starting a brewery just this morning, and they were talking about the selection process and how they were barred from it, and they were wondering, on the spot market, what are they going to get? I said, well, it depends on the vendor that you use. And I was trying to be like really political about how I phrased it, but I was like, if you go with a good vendor whose commitment to quality starts when they take the bale in, or if they're able to do the selection process or something like that, it does make a big difference because they're selecting for everybody, or they're taking it in for everybody. And I think that's something to keep in mind too. If you can't afford some of the more advanced products, because there's a barrier to entry there with not only how you use it, but how much it costs. Yeah, that's a big factor. But then not being able to do your own selection because you're not contracting 5,000 pounds. Something that does make a big difference. And so to find a vendor who's actually working with brewers who are barred from that process, I think that's the key.
That's good. That's smart.
So-
I buy for the IPAs. I buy. I'll say this in your facility, but from Yakima Valley, they do Lupomax, so I know that's like a concentrate, a little higher off acids.
Yeah, that's where I was before.
So-
was Yakima
So
Valley.
is that where you got your hot hash from?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it have a lot of like, what does it look like, I guess? Is
It's
it
just
powder?
like little tiny fine dust.
They look
Is it like a golden dust or is it like?
Yeah, goldenish.
Okay.
the hop hash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not green like you'd think the leaves, but it's like a golden.
Yeah.
We do hot hash.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that's
you
it.
do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I've had some really good luck with that stuff. I actually, one thing I liked about it was the beer after cold crushing was almost clear without any fines or anything. But you didn't lose any of that flavor. I thought it worked out really well as a dry hop.
So there's the tap handle up there. So Payette did a pillow line.
Oh, yeah.
Is when
I love that.
Matt Watterson was with Payette. We're throwing all this away. We don't know what to do with this. Can you brew with it and see what you can do? And they made that, and they sold like 9,000 cans or something like that in like 5 days.
Crazy.
I'm like, so
That's the way it works.
do it again.
Yeah.
You know,
And hot
like-
hash is a byproduct of pelletizing,
Yeah.
which you probably already learned.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I didn't
It's
cover
not
it.
cheap
We're-
either.
So we get our hop hash straight from those hammer mill doors.
Yeah.
So do you make any advanced hop products here like that? Like a
Hop
local
hash
max
is
or
the only-
hop hash, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the problem is, I cannot tell you that I'm going to have it available. Haphazardly is that when those hammer mills are running, it slings the lupulin glands straight to the door.
Wow.
So we go in and we scrape that by itself and then package that. And then everything else, because you're gonna have that leafy material, your vegetative matter, we'll take that, we'll break that down and then put it into the mix tanks.
Yeah.
But that straight golden,
Delicious dust.
like magic sand is what it is.
It's delicious.
So you pull it out of there and like you can shape it, like I've got kids, so like magic sand, it's like you just do this and it holds that shape for a little bit and then it just starts to
Yes.
fall apart. Like this is insane. And we ran it on our QTA machine and it's like, oh, it's 130% alpha. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it's just concentrate is all that it is. But yeah, we threw away a lot our first year.
Yeah.
Not knowing.
I mean, I think everybody
If there
throws
would
a
be a
lot
market
away.
for it.
Like
Yeah.
300 pounds a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't want
I
to
think I
say,
was paying 26 or 28 pounds for
Yeah.
a 4-ounce.
yeah.
That's just crazy.
I don't want to
No.
say YVH was first to market, but they might have been. And
It goes really quick too.
yeah.
If you don't get the
it'll be gone in a month.
varieties you want on the first day, Mosaic was gone the first day.
Dang.
And I could only get Citra and CTZ.
Well, part of that too
Wow.
is you've got to work with a facility or have a
Yeah.
partnership with a facility that's processing Mosaic.
I think the only problem with some of that hash too, though, is you can have, each year can be different.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of hop hash, Idaho 7, or you don't get any. And we've been trying to figure out if it's the moisture, or maybe it's just a growing season. We've had what, 3 different lots this year. We had Chinook that we ran all the same. Like we based like the machinery stuff, all that off what one lot's running. You run it all the same, and then you get to one, and you do a changeover. You tell someone, hey, this is how we're running it, and they run it that way, and it's completely different, and it blinds everything up, and everything changes.
Oh, wow.
And then the yield's not as high, and I think there's a lot of people that are they have more diverse, I guess, hop products, and they're using that to make a different product.
Oh, I see.
So we had a
Guess
customer
what?
on the East Coast, and one year we got them 85 pounds of hop
It was
hash
just,
Yeah.
of Idaho 7. And then the following year they asked for more. I was like, okay.
Maybe we should
And I got 4
machine
pounds off this.
that
I'm
makes
like,
hop hash.
wait,
Wow.
I tried everything I could to create more, and I couldn't create more.
It's just a byproduct of whatever that crop
specific crop that year.
Yeah, however it's going to perform in the pellet
Yeah.
mill, which you
So I
can't
think-
always predict.
Pitch a collab and say we call it Happy Delicious Dust.
Delicious
Yeah.
dust.
So I think
I like
our packaging is like 5 pounds to 1 pound on hot mash. But I'm pretty sure we can look to see if there's anything
Yeah.
that's left.
I know I
What
have
is-
some.
I think the
out
last
there
beer I
that's
used
not
2
just
pounds.
Eldo. Most of
And
it's
that's pretty good for a
Eldo.
barrel.
But we have a couple little 1 pound. We didn't get a lot. We have maybe 1 pound, some Comet, some Cascade, maybe some Centennial.
What's your flagship beer?
The Beard Labruski. So that's the one if I run out of it, I get in trouble. But it's a golden stout with coffee and cream. It
Oh.
tastes like a White Russian. That was the goal, is to make a
Dang.
White Russian beer.
Oh, shit.
So
Is it the big Labruski?
We're gonna have
it's
to
a
try that
play
on Friday. Lebowski.
It's a little bit of a
That's his
play on the
cocktail.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have loved that movie for many, many years. So I wanted to create a beer that would pay homage to the dude and how he always had a White Russian. I loved those. So I wanted people to come in and be like, oh, the Beard Labruski. That's like because it's brown beard, so it makes sense.
Mhm.
But that one has been by far my best seller.
That wraps it up. End of the tour.
Awesome tour.
Awesome tour. What are your final thoughts?
I always when I reminisce about this place, I always go back to thinking how clean it is. It reminded me of going into Simplot actually on a job. You have this big brand new production facility. It's like scrubbed clean. It's really neat to see such a sustainable place with the people that are there that work hard. But then you see it and you're like, this is clean. This is what I want a facility that processes the ingredients. Main ingredients in my product to look like. So I love that. My final thoughts on the people, just great people. I actually got the opportunity to invite them to the brewery here and get a chance to speak with them a little bit more. Real beer lovers. It's quite fun to get the chance to talk with almost all of the crew. I think there were nine of them here. So it was really cool. And yeah, just very thankful to have that opportunity. What were your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, it exceeded expectations.
No doubt about it.
I felt very fortunate because I felt like they kind of went out of their way to really show us around, tell us what was happening, what's new, what's going on.
Yeah.
And it just, gave me the goosebumps inside.
Nothing better than a great tour like that.
Yeah, I loved it.
Quite fun.
If I could, I would work there because it is somewhere that you would want to work.
No doubt.
It's very welcoming and.
Well, I tell you what, Mark, I could put a good word in for you. Maybe you could start as a seasonal employee during the busy time and work your way up.
Well, I'm not the young spring chicken anymore. I don't know
enough.
about manual labor, but I definitely could help sell their product.
No doubt about it.
I mean, anywhere I go, I'm gonna shout it out. Hey, Mill 95, great place, great hops. In fact, they were talking about in the break room that worldwide. So if anybody out there is listening, and they see a Mill 95 product or something, and you're not in the state of Idaho, take a picture, post it.
Yeah.
Hashtag Mill 95, hashtag
Show them
empty cans.
where their stuff's made it to.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm sure they would love that.
I think that'd be fantastic.
It would be. So yes, again, big thanks to everybody. Really appreciate their time.
Huge thank you from the brewery here as well.
All right, well, that brings us to our fun fact.
The fun fact.
Bryce, can you give us our fun fact for this episode?
I sure can.
Great.
Beer fun fact. The beer industry in the U.S. turns annual profits of over $100 billion.
And I'm sure you're getting a large chunk of that.
A lot of that money goes directly into my pocket.
I'm sure it does.
If you
You're
can't tell.
Killing it down here.
Yeah, we're
killing it.
Well, at least we're having fun. If I get a lot of the shares of the fun profits that come. I mean, I'm probably rich in that aspect of it. It really has been pretty great. Quite the number. It's 100 billion.
Yeah, 100 billion.
Yeah, who would have thought?
And I think I'm a big portion of that right there.
Yeah, yeah. You could have. I know you had a goal to buy an island 10 years ago, but you've really become a beer connoisseur instead. So.
Right. I set my priorities straight.
That's right.
Beer
That's right.
first,
Beer
island
first.
second.
That's correct.
All righty. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. You can do that by going to emptycans2022@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram at @mt_cans. Thank you, everybody.
Have a wonderful night. Take care.